everyone. I hope you are having a wonderful day. For today's video, I'm going to share with you a chicken soup. Uh, that came out weird. Um, a chicken soup that I make for my daughters. Now, this is something that I make all the time. I make them in big batches and I will freeze some of it so that, in case of a cold rainy day, or if we haven't gone to the grocery store or something and I need like a quick lunch or something for the girls, I will warm this up and there's our lunch. Now, more times than not, I usually don't have any leftovers because my girls and my husband, but usually they just eat the whole thing in like a day. My girls could eat bowls upon bowls of this. They could eat it all day long. They could eat it for lunch, dinner, sometimes for breakfast. A nice way to get your kids to eat veggies. Um, if your kids are kind of picky, I I'm actually kind of lucky that my girls are not very picky in that department. They'll eat anything in front of them, whether it be vegetable, fruit, whatever. They'll eat it, or at least they'll try it. So this is just my take on the soup, but I promise it is really, really good. So enough rambling, let's go on to the video and to the recipe.
Alright, so the first thing I want to do is get a nice deep pan because I'm going to make a big batch today, but you could get the size that will work for you. And I usually use chicken thighs for this recipe, but I only had chicken breasts this time, so that's what I'll be using. Okay, so we add our chicken to the pan. Okay, and then you add enough water to cover maybe 2 inches above the chicken. And I only use these 2 pieces of chicken here. I usually use, if I use the chicken thighs, I'll use like 2 or 3 pieces. The chicken breast, I'll use like 2 big pieces like this. Just because you break them up eventually, so this is good enough. And yeah, I go by those two little screws that hold the handles. That's how I measure my water. So I just go up to that, and that's pretty much enough water to, yeah, okay. So then you're gonna turn on the stove to medium-high heat, and you're gonna let them boil. At this time, I'm also gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper. Got some pink Himalayan salt there. We're gonna add a little bit of that. Then we add some pepper. So of course, the next thing I'm going to add is the Sazon Goya. I think I added both packets. So I did add both packets, and only because I made such a large batch. If I was making anything less than this, then I would have just added 1 packet. So I also added parsley flakes, and I added just 2 large pinches of this in there and just crushed them into the soup. You can also add fresh chopped parsley and it'll probably taste better, but I just had these dried ones for now. So the next thing I'm going to add is this Knorr chicken powder, and I add 2 tablespoons of this. Another option you can do is, instead of adding so much water, you can add about 1 of those cartons of chicken stock or chicken broth, and then the rest with water, and then you wouldn't have to add the chicken powder. Although I still add about half a tablespoon of that. Either way, I like the flavor that it gives. And then you just stir it up a bit and let it boil. So once your chicken is nice and boiled, you are going to take it out, and you could either shred it or cut it up in big chunks or cut it up in smaller chunks. I usually like to cut it up in small chunks because it's easier for the little girls to eat. So I will show you that right now. Okay, so then I get my very big cutting knife And I'm just going to chop this up into smaller pieces. And it's okay if the chicken's not completely cooked through, because you're just going to put it back in the pot and it'll finish cooking. So that's why it's pink right here. But yeah, I'm just going to chop it up into small pieces so I can put it back in. So every time I'm using the tongs, the way I was using it to hold the chicken here, my thumb bends back really weird and it actually makes my hand cramp up, so that's why I started using the fork. But yeah, I don't know why I felt the need to say that, but that's why there's a fork now. And there's all my chopped up chicken. So then you're gonna lower the heat to like a medium low and start adding all of your chopped up chicken back into the pot. Make sure to stir it all up. And now I'm gonna add the pasta. I'm sorry I put the camera kind of weird on the little box thingy that holds it up, but anyway, I usually use those little fideo pastas. They're like the typical pastas for soup. I don't know how to explain it, but today I'm using just some of these elbows just because I don't know, I thought I'd change it up and do something new. But I mean, you can add any type of pasta if you want. You can add no pasta, you can add rice. I mean, there's endless options, but this is what I use today. So then I'm gonna add about a cup of carrots, and yes, I cheated because these are frozen carrots, but they are still carrots, so yeah, cup of carrot. And now this is when we start chopping up our veggies. I like to use zucchini and yellow squash, so I am going to cut half of each, and that is all I'm going to use in the soup, because I do chop it up nice and small, so like, you know, it's enough. I can't find the words. Anyway, so you wash them really good and you chop them up, and of course when you have little ones, you always have them coming over, see what you're doing, telling you I'm hungry and all that stuff. So you know, gotta teach them young how to cook. All right, so chopping squash and zucchini. And once all your veggies are chopped, you're just gonna add them into the soup. At this point, you put a lid on it and let it simmer for about an hour. After about an hour or so, your soup should be bubbling up like this, and just check your noodles, make sure they're nice and cooked, and everything should be ready. And of course you want to do a taste test to make sure everything tastes up to par. I actually ended up adding a little bit more of the chicken powder, about a tablespoon and a half more. And that did the trick because it tasted perfectly delicious. And of course Mina wanted a little taste too. And there you have it, delicious. I can't speak, delicious chicken noodle soup.
Doesn't that look good? I promise you it is delicious. My husband likes to put tahine, which is like the what is it, like little chili flakes, like a little powder that has chili and lime or something like that. People usually put it on like fruit and veggies and pretty much all their food. But he likes to put some of that and some lime in it, and actually gives it a nice little kick. My girls, I just give it to them just like that. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know if you guys try out this recipe. Please hit the like button if you guys like this video. Subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you guys can get notified when I post new videos. And I hope you have a wonderful day.